Trafalgar Square, London. William Harrington, multimillionaire aged 58, walks towards his Bentley when an 8-year-old girl blocks his path. Her clothes are worn, her hair disheveled, but her eyes shine with a particular light. She extends a faded photograph and whispers, "Do I look like you?" William looks at the image, and the world stops. In that photo he sees himself as a child, but above all, he sees the face of his daughter Emma, who died 3 years ago in an accident. The answer he's about to give will forever change 2 destinies. Because sometimes, when everything seems lost, the universe sends us an angel in the form of a brave little girl who isn't afraid to ask for the truth. The late afternoon sun gilds the centuries-old stones of Trafalgar Square, whilst William Harrington crosses the square with the determined stride of one who is always in a hurry. At 58, he is one of the richest men in Britain. Property empire, luxury hotel chain, investments counted in hundreds of millions. His £3,000 Savile Row suit and the Patek Philippe on his wrist testify to a life of success built with ruthless determination. But behind those blue eyes, behind the perfectly groomed beard and elegant bearing, hides an emptiness that no wealth can fill. 3 years ago, his daughter Emma died in a car accident. She was only 16, had the same eyes as her father, and a smile that lit up every room. Since that day, William has become an empty shell dressed in luxury. Today, he emerges from yet another business meeting that brought him no satisfaction. The figures grow, profits increase, but everything seems meaningless to him. He walks towards his metallic gray Bentley when a small figure emerges from the shadow of the National Gallery's portico. It's a girl of 8 years, perhaps 9. Her clothes are clean but visibly second-hand. A gray coat, too big for her, worn but dignified trainers, jeans with some patches sewn with care. The chestnut hair is gathered in a slightly untidy ponytail. But what strikes William are her eyes. Large, expressive, of a deep blue that reminds him of something painfully familiar. The girl plants herself in front of him with the determination of one who has made an important decision. She doesn't seem intimidated by his imposing presence, his expensive suit, or the aura of power surrounding him. She rummages in a small canvas bag and pulls out a photograph yellowed by time, its corners worn by use. She extends the photo with hands that tremble slightly. It's a black and white photograph, probably from the 70s, showing a man in his 30s in an elegant suit beside a beautiful woman in evening dress. The man has aristocratic features, piercing blue eyes, a confident smile. The woman is radiant, with long, dark hair and a sweet smile. William feels the blood freeze in his veins. That man in the photo resembles him strikingly. He's not identical, but the features, facial structure, even the expression in the eyes are extraordinarily similar. It's like looking at himself in a parallel life. "Do I look like you?" asks the girl, and in her voice there's a vulnerability that contrasts with her apparent confidence. William raises his eyes from the photo and looks into her eyes. For a terrifying moment, it's like looking at Emma, not because they resemble each other physically, but because of something deeper, the intensity of the gaze, determination mixed with fragility, that particular light that had shone in his daughter's eyes. The girl explains that the man in the photo is her father, Robert Harrington, who died before she was born. William feels the world sway. Harrington, the same surname. The physical resemblance, the age would correspond perfectly to what his brother Robert would have had, who disappeared 27 years ago without trace after a devastating family argument. The girl introduces herself, Charlotte Harrington. She lives on the streets with her mother. They sleep in different places, but her mum works hard. In her voice, there's dignity despite poverty, courage despite vulnerability. William feels a knot in his throat. This girl, who could be his niece, lives in destitution. Robert's daughter, the brother he had disowned through pride, and whom he had never sought after their last terrible quarrel. He suggests going together to see Charlotte's mother, to meet her, to understand. Charlotte agrees, but warns that her mother doesn't trust rich men. She says they always promise things they don't keep. Those words hit William like a slap. How often had he made empty promises? How much time had he wasted pursuing success instead of cultivating the relationships that truly mattered? As he walks, holding Charlotte's small hand in his, William feels for the first time in 3 years the desperate need to be forgiven, and the hope that perhaps, life still has something beautiful to offer him. The pub, the Crown and Anchor, is one of those typical London establishments tucked away in a side street, where the smell of fish and chips and ale mingles with the chatter of customers. William had never entered such a place. His meals took place in Michelin-starred restaurants, his appointments in exclusive venues in Mayfair. Charlotte guides him through the worn wooden tables to the kitchen, where a woman in her 30s is washing dishes with quick and efficient movements. When she turns around, William is left breathless. She's beautiful, but with a different beauty from the women he frequents in his circles. She doesn't have the artificial glamour of socialites or the studied elegance of businesswomen. She's beautiful as a woman can be who has fought, who has suffered, who has sacrificed everything for her daughter. The long chestnut hair is gathered in a practical bun, the face is tired but has delicate features, and her eyes, the same as Charlotte's, betray intelligence and mistrust. She introduces herself as Sarah. When William says his surname, the color disappears from the woman's face. She recognizes him. Robert had spoken much about him, about the brother he admired but who had hurt him most. Robert wasn't dead, as she had always told Charlotte, to protect her from the pain of abandonment. He had left for Edinburgh when Charlotte was 2 years old, saying he could no longer bear being a burden to them. William feels those words like stabs. He remembers perfectly that evening 27 years ago. Robert had exhibited his sculptures in a small gallery, hadn't sold anything, but was so enthusiastic, and he, busy building his financial empire, had called him a failed dreamer in front of the whole family. Sarah tells of their life, raising a daughter alone, working 16 hours a day, sleeping in the car when they couldn't afford rent. Years of struggle and dignity, of sacrifices and broken hopes. William confesses his loss. 3 years ago, his daughter Emma died in an accident. 16 years old, the same eyes as her father. Since that day, he understood that all the money in the world is worth nothing if you don't have someone to love. When he saw Charlotte today, he saw Emma again, felt the possibility of a family he believed lost forever. Sarah sets her conditions firmly. First, she wants him to search for Robert. If he's alive, Charlotte has the right to know her father. Second, she'll continue working. She won't be kept by anyone. Third, if he disappoints them, he must disappear forever from their lives. William accepts without hesitation. He'll hire the best private investigators in Europe, help them find decent housing, but above all, he promises he'll never abandon them as he did with Robert. Charlotte, who has followed the entire conversation with adult seriousness, takes William's hand. In that simple gesture, there's acceptance, trust, the hope of a girl who has finally found a family. For the first time in 3 years, William feels the word home resonate within him like a bell. He no longer has just luxurious and empty properties, but the possibility of learning again what family means. 2 weeks later, William is transforming his mansion in Hampstead. The guest wing is being renovated for Sarah and Charlotte, but the change goes beyond physical space. William is learning what it means to live with other people after years of golden solitude. Charlotte has revolutionized his existence. The mansion, previously silent as a museum, now echoes with her laughter, her endless questions, her games. She's transformed the drawing room into a playroom, convinced William to buy a golden retriever named Shakespeare, and insisted they dine together every evening. Sarah has accepted the role of house manager. not through charity, but through dignity. She manages the staff, organizes meals, handles maintenance. She has the same authority as William, but tempered by a gentleness he had forgotten existed. One evening, William returns from work and finds Charlotte doing her history homework. She must write about her family. With the uncertain handwriting of an 8-year-old girl, she has written, "My family is special. I have a mum who is the strongest in the world, a dad who is an artist, but I don't know him, and an uncle who thought he had no family left, but he was wrong." William feels his eyes moisten reading those words. In 2 weeks, this girl has taught him more about life than he had learned in 58 years. Sarah enters with important news. The investigator has found Robert. He's alive, living in Edinburgh, making sculptures as he had always dreamed. He has a small studio in the old town. When he learned that William had found Charlotte and that she was well, he agreed to see them. William feels a mixture of joy and remorse. Robert succeeded, realized his dreams despite everything. But how many years of family life have they lost because of his pride? He makes a decision he should have made 27 years ago. They'll go visit him all together. It's time for this family to reunite. That evening, after putting Charlotte to bed, William and Sarah sit on the terrace to watch the lights of London. It's become an evening habit, these moments of quiet conversation. William confesses his fears. What if Robert doesn't forgive him? What if he doesn't like Charlotte? Sarah reassures him. Charlotte adores him. He's become the father figure she always desired. A biological father gives genes, but a true father gives love.
Enjoying the story? Give it a little like, and don't forget to subscribe. Now then, let's carry on.
These 2 weeks have been the most beautiful of William's life since Emma's death. Sarah and Charlotte have saved him from himself, given him a reason to live that goes beyond success and money. Charlotte appears in the doorway in pajamas. She can't sleep. She's thinking about Daddy. She's afraid he won't like her. William takes her in his arms, assures her she's the most extraordinary girl in the world. Robert already loves her. He loved her from the moment of her birth. With the wisdom of an 8-year-old girl, Charlotte asks William to promise he'll tell Daddy he's sorry, that he has a beautiful family now, and that he won't be angry if Robert doesn't want to forgive him immediately. William hugs the girl and promises, whatever happens, they'll remain a family. Tomorrow they'll leave for Edinburgh. Tomorrow they'll discover if a broken family can be mended by love and forgiveness. The train arrives in Edinburgh under a bright August sky. William has never been so frightened in his life. He's faced billion-pound mergers, crises that would have destroyed empires, but nothing scares him like the idea of looking his brother in the eyes after 27 years. Charlotte wears her most beautiful dress, a blue little dress with embroidered butterflies, and brings a drawing made for Daddy, a stylized family with 4 figures holding hands under a smiling sun. The taxi takes them through Edinburgh to the Old Town, a maze of narrow streets and ancient stone buildings. The smell of whiskey and heather mixes with that of the castle's stones, creating an atmosphere that seems to belong to another world. Robert's studio is in a small close leading down from the Royal Mile. A weather-beaten wooden sign announces Robert Harrington, sculptor. William feels his heart beating so hard he fears Charlotte might hear it. When the door opens, William finds himself face to face with the ghost of his past. Robert is 53, but looks older. His hair is gray and long, his face marked by weather and the lines of one who has lived a difficult life. But his eyes are the same, blue, intelligent, and full of emotion. He's thinner, wearing clay-stained jeans and a faded shirt. His hands are those of a craftsman, strong, calloused, dirty, with earth and passion. Charlotte breaks the spell by running towards Robert with the spontaneity of a girl who has waited for this moment all her life. When Robert lifts her, William sees tears running down his brother's weathered face. Robert holds Charlotte as if afraid she might vanish. breathes in the scent of her hair, whispers sweet words in Scots. Charlotte shows him the drawing, and Robert breaks into sobs. 4 figures holding hands, underneath written, "My family." Robert looks at William, and in those eyes there's a silent question. Is it possible that after all this time, they can truly be brothers again? William asks forgiveness for everything, for calling him a failed dreamer, for not supporting him, for letting him leave without ever searching for him. Robert replies that he too must apologize for running away, for abandoning Charlotte and Sarah. But William insists he was the older brother. He should have protected him. Robert smiles sadly, explains that he didn't break his dreams, just made them harder to achieve. He shows his studio full of beautiful sculptures, figures dancing in clay, faces expressing deep emotions, true art born from passion. William finally recognizes the talent he hadn't been able to see 25 years ago. Robert is truly an artist. He had been right from the beginning. For the rest of the afternoon, Robert shows Charlotte his sculptures, teaches her to work with clay, tells her stories of Edinburgh and the Highlands. William observes this father rediscovering his daughter, this brother who has built a life of passion despite everything. When the sun begins to set, Robert asks the question everyone was waiting for. He wants to come home with them. He wants to truly know Charlotte, make up for lost time, become part of a family again. William feels his heart explode with joy. After 27 years, his brother is about to come home. 6 months later, the Hampstead mansion has become the refuge of a family reconstructed by love and forgiveness. Robert has moved his studio to a wing of the property, creating a workshop where he teaches sculpture and continues his art. His works are now exhibited in the best galleries in Britain, finally recognized for their value. Charlotte divides her time between school, games with Shakespeare, and sculpture lessons with Daddy. She has inherited Robert's artist hands and William's determination. Her little clay masterpieces decorate every room of the mansion. Sarah manages the house with the grace of a queen and the efficiency of an executive. She's resumed her studies, enrolled in a business administration course. William has proposed she become his partner in business, recognizing in her an intelligence and sensitivity he doesn't possess himself. In the evenings, the family gathers for dinner in the large kitchen that was always empty before. Robert tells of his adventures in Edinburgh, Charlotte shows her progress at school, Sarah shares her study projects. William listens and marvels at how simple happiness can be. One day, whilst walking in the garden with Charlotte, the girl stops in front of the small chapel William had built in memory of Emma. Every week they bring fresh flowers, tell Emma about their days, include her in their prayers. "Uncle William," says Charlotte, with that seriousness that characterizes her, "do you think Emma would be happy with us?" William kneels to be at her height. "I think Emma would be delighted to know I'm no longer alone. She always wanted me to be happy. Have you told her you now have a niece?" "I've told her that, and I've told her you resemble her in courage and generosity." Charlotte reflects for a moment. "Then we're both your little girls, she in heaven and me here." William feels his eyes fill with tears. This 8-year-old girl has a wisdom that teaches him something new every day. In the evening, during family dinner, William raises his wine glass for a toast. He looks at the faces of the people he loves. Robert, who has found serenity after years of exile. Sarah, who has become the strong woman every family needs. Charlotte, who continues growing surrounded by love. He thinks back to that afternoon 6 months ago, when a brave girl asked him if she looked like him. The answer had been yes, but not because of physical features. They resemble each other in the courage to seek love when everything seems lost, in the ability to believe in family even when it's broken, in the strength to forgive even when pain seems insurmountable. "I toast to my family," says William, "to those I've found again, and those I've learned to love anew." Robert raises his glass. "I toast to the forgiveness that brought us back together? Sarah smiles. I toast to the hope we never stopped cultivating. Charlotte, with her glass of fruit juice, concludes, I toast to the most important question I've ever asked. Do I look like you? That night, William goes to sleep knowing that the answer to that question has forever changed 4 destinies. Yes, Charlotte looks like him, not in appearance, but in soul. And it's this resemblance of the heart that has saved a family and reconstructed a love that seemed lost forever. 1 year after that fateful encounter in Trafalgar Square, William is a completely different man. He has reduced his professional commitments, delegating much of the responsibility to dedicate himself to what truly matters: family. Charlotte has turned 9, and her birthday party takes place in the mansion's garden. There are her school friends, but also the workers who renovated Robert's studio, the ladies who work in the house, Shakespeare's veterinarian. William has learned that true wealth lies in human relationships, not in bank accounts. Robert has just completed an important commission, a commemorative monument for the City of London. His art is finally recognized, but what truly makes him happy is seeing Charlotte play in the garden where he himself had played as a child. The circle has closed. The family has come home. Sarah has completed her studies and now manages the foundation William created to help families in difficulty. It's called the Emma and Charlotte Foundation, in honor of the 2 girls who changed his life. Every day they help single mothers, abandoned children, families fighting against poverty. During the party, Charlotte approaches William with a special gift, a small painting she made at school. It shows a girl extending her hand to a man in suit and tie. Underneath, she has written, "The day I found my uncle." William looks at that drawing and reviews the incredible journey that brought them here. An innocent question from a brave girl awakened in him the humanity he thought he had lost. He rediscovered that love isn't inherited. It's built day by day with small gestures of care and attention. In the evening, when the guests have gone and Charlotte is in bed, William, Robert, and Sarah sit on the terrace as every evening. It's become their sacred moment when they share the day's thoughts and future plans. Do you know what I've understood this year? Says William. Family isn't just the one you're born into. It's also the one you choose to build. Robert nods. Charlotte taught me it's never too late to start again. I missed her early years, but I can be present for all those to come. And I learned, adds Sarah, that sometimes destiny knows what it's doing. It put us in William's path just when all 3 of us needed healing. At that moment, Charlotte appears in the doorway in pajamas, dragging her teddy bear. I can't sleep. Can I stay with you? William takes her in his arms and settles her on his knees. What's keeping you awake, little one? I was thinking about that time in the square, when I asked if I looked like you. You never really answered me. William looks into her eyes, those blue eyes he now knows better than his own. Do you want the real answer? Charlotte nods solemnly. Yes, you look like me. Not in face or hair, but in heart. You have the courage to ask for what you want, the strength never to give up, and the ability to love unconditionally. In this, we're identical. Charlotte smiles and falls asleep in his arms. William looks at the starry sky above London and thinks of Emma. Wherever she is, he hopes she's proud of him. He's learned to love again, reconstructed a broken family, found meaning in his existence that goes beyond material success. An 8-year-old girl taught him that true wealth isn't measured in pounds, but in embraces. That the greatest success isn't building an empire, but building a family. That the most important question isn't, what are you worth, but who do you resemble in your soul? And whilst Charlotte sleeps peacefully in his arms, William knows that the answer to that question has saved not 1 life, but 4. It has transformed solitude into love, pride into humility, loss into reunion. Sometimes a simple question is enough to change the world. Sometimes the courage of a little girl is enough to bring an entire family home. If this story has touched your heart, If you've felt the emotion of Charlotte finding a family and William rediscovering love, then you must share it with those you love, because each of us has a family to mend, forgiveness to ask for, love to rediscover. Each of us deserves a second chance to be happy. Like, if you believe true love knows no social differences. Comment. What's the most important question you've ever asked someone? Share this story with those who need to believe in miracles again. Subscribe for more stories that prove love can truly change everything. Because behind every brave question lies the possibility of a new beginning. Family isn't the one you're born into. It's the one you choose to love.